So I'm just going to go over some information, and this is only regarding short-term rental homes. This is not regarding hotels or apartments or condos or bed and breakfasts. So only short-term rental homes in accordance with Maui County Code, Chapter 19.65. And I will post this presentation on our website. I haven't done it yet, so wait till Monday morning, please. It'll be on mauicounty.gov, and then you find the planning department, and I'll have it as the first bullet item under our hot topics, which is right on our planning department homepage. Okay, so the conversation today is regarding possibly phasing out short-term rental homes. And that could mean letting them expire on a set date in the future, say 2023 or 2024, but a set date, or letting them run until they expire. We already have some permits that are approved till 2025, so maybe those could just continue until they expire. What short-term rental home owners can do instead, if say a permit does expire, is sell the property or live in it, or rent it out long-term, or apply for another type of permit, like a conditional permit or a bed and breakfast permit. One of the things that we would hope would be that neighbors get their communities back. Home and rental prices might stabilize due to the supply. Owning a house might become an option for some people. Visitors could stay in hotels and patronize the businesses created for them, and their impact could be limited to certain areas. What the vision is that residential areas are where residents live, and hotel and other resort districts are where the visitors stay. Just looking at the big picture for a little bit, in terms of sustainability for Maui County. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainability has three fundamental priorities, and you can see those as the corners of the triangle: economic development, equity or social justice, and environmental protection. Right now, Maui seems to be a little bit out of balance with economic development outweighing the other two parts. And we see the consequences of that with the high prices of housing that our children can't afford and the pressures of overcrowding at our beaches and parks. We'd like to see a better balance for sustainability. And this movement is an ongoing cumulative process of resolving conflicts, as you can see in the center of this triangle. And this diagram is from the American Planning Association. Just a little bit of background information about the short-term rental home permits. We have 229 permits issued as of the end of last year. If you exclude Molokai, there's 212 for Maui and Lanai. About half have Hawaii addresses, either in Maui County or somewhere else in the state of Hawaii, and the other half are mainline or international. Short-term rental home use was not prohibited until 1991 when the rules changed. And so some properties that were conducting short-term rental home use before 1991 are what we call grandfathered. They're allowed to be continued as a non-conforming use, provided they meet the criteria of this part that I have down here, Maui County Code 19.500.110. And so they have some rules that they have to follow, like they can't have a break in that use for more than 12 months. They can't expand and so forth. It's all spelled out in the code, but there are a few properties that, because of this use prior to 1991, they are allowed to continue. This part of the code that we're talking about today, Chapter 19.65, was first adopted in 2012, so it's a relatively young addition to the Maui County Code. It's only been around for about 7 years. This is just a breakdown of where the property owners' addresses are for the different short-term rental home properties. And you can see they vary. Some of them you have a greater number of Maui County owners, and some you have a greater number of mainland. Like, for example, Lahaina, you have 37 mainland owners and 2 international versus 22 Maui County. So it does vary depending on the district where the property owners are. And just Maui, Maui County includes Lanai, Molokai, and Maui versus the Hawaii column, which could be Big Island or Kauai or Oahu. And our 3 internationals are 1 Canada and 2 Japan. So what we're thinking about is, as I kind of mentioned, not accepting applications after some set date in the future, and then allowing permit holders to operate until some certain date or when the permit expires. Owners who want to continue vacation rental operations could apply for a bed and breakfast permit if they meet the criteria, or a conditional permit. And also with the bed and breakfast permit, we would look at expanding opportunities so that more STRH owners could meet the criteria for running a bed and breakfast permit. So there's a lot of questions about this, and one of the questions is, well, where would people stay? Well, we do have zoning districts that do allow transient vacation rental use, and that's the hotel district and the other business districts where it's an outright permitted use. This is a hot topic about jobs, and from the Economic Research Organization of the University of Hawaii. And they have, I'm just going to quote them, the unregulated expansion of vacation rental units has a general effect on housing availability and pricing, as well as neighborhood characteristics. However, the growth of vacation rental units also expands the pool of accommodations that do not generate as many jobs as full-service options. And like I mentioned, this is from the University of Hawaii, charting a new course for Hawaii tourism. I know there's a big concern about housekeepers and landscapers, but there's also hotel and restaurant staff too. And one option is if the investment property is converted to a bed and breakfast, the housekeepers and landscapers could continue to work on those properties. Okay, one of the concerns that is an ongoing concern are illegal vacation rentals. Those are always going to be a problem, and we're going to continue to put our efforts towards them, but we've made a lot of improvements. One of the tools we have now is a contractor who tracks daily the online vacation rental advertising, which is approximately 30,000 ads a day. We have that company that's working with us to help track down illegal vacation rentals. And then remember back when in 2018 on the ballot we voted and the charter amendment passed for civil fines of $20,000 for the initial and $10,000 daily for operating a transient vacation rental without the required permit. So that's something that's new that will help us with the illegals. Because we heard loud and clear that the community wanted these resolved. And the county council has provided funding for the contractor and for positions for enforcement. So it is an ongoing effort that we're working on. The next couple of slides are from Hawaii Research and Housing Reports prepared by Strategies 360, and it's just a snapshot of a little bit of data from Lahaina, and this is from January 2020. It's just to show the differences in dollars. Now this is just a little bit of background data about, like I mentioned, Lahaina, the nights rented per month, and then the rates for the different types of rooms or units. But this is the one I wanted to show, is that vacation rental units do generate a lot more money, and that's why there's a big difference in terms of long-term versus short-term or vacation rent revenues coming in. And so on the right, you see the columns of the rent versus the vacation rental income. And that's regarding housing supply. So it's just a snapshot, just to give some information in terms of the dollar units, and this is for Lahaina. So Let's see. The pie chart on the left is the housing inventory. The 31% renter occupied, the 32, the lighter royal blue on the bottom, owner occupied, and then the red is considered vacant. So this is from U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So this is something I found from, like I mentioned, Strategies 360, but it just shows, I mainly wanted to show the revenue on the right side. But it does have 37% of the housing unit supply in Lahaina is considered vacant, and a majority of these vacant units are likely being used for vacation rentals.
Are those permitted? Are those the 200 permitted ones?
It doesn't distinguish.
It doesn't distinguish that.
Does that include the resort areas, Kapalua?
Housing supply, so it's housing supply that they're talking about here.
So it's not specific
Homes
to
and
this issue?
apartments.
Homes and apartments, yeah.
So it wouldn't include condos.
It might,
It
yeah,
would
so,
include condos.
So some of those could be
that is correct, it could be,
transient accommodations.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, so. And just the last slide I have from that Strategies 360 is that, you know, there is some residents that are opposed to short-term rental units in residential neighborhoods, and in Maui it's at about a little over 50%, either strongly or total opposed. So there is some feeling about the short-term rental home units in the residential neighborhoods. So as we mentioned, we don't have a bill for ordinance, we're just putting out feelers. We haven't prepared anything yet, but you know, there's other alternatives that we can consider, such as attrition, decreasing the caps for the various community plan areas to the current number of permits that are issued, having the planning commissions have a little bit more review when the renewals come in, having more notice go out to residents within 500 feet, not just the owners, because sometimes the owners of the neighboring properties are not on Maui, and they don't let the people who are actually here know. And then the last option would be, or alternative would be to, as I mentioned, broaden the definition of bed and breakfast. So, you know, maybe some of the properties can convert to bed and breakfasts.
Why is that better?
Well, generally speaking, the question is, why is a bed and breakfast better? In the research I've done, it seems that with a bed and breakfast, having an owner on site, it curbs some of the behavior that neighbors aren't so fond of from vacation renters. There's a little bit more accountability there. It just seems that bed and breakfast seem to be better accepted by neighbors, just based on the research I've read from a lot of different places. So that's the information I have, and we can take some questions and answers if you have any. Thank you.